How's it going, Randall?
How was everyone's Easter?
I had a good Easter. I made steak for dinner, and that was really good. So, good Easter for me, and glad to be back.
Nice. Very nice.
It was very relaxing.
Yeah, same.
Hey guys, so just really quick, wanted to remind you to check your email. I sent you guys out a friendly amendment. It's just changing the title of the bill, number 8, just to make it more correct. So just take a look at that and just notice that change as we go into debate, or not debate, but as it goes in through its first read. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. Last week we did not have Senate because we did not reach quota, so we don't have any meeting minutes to approve. And so with that, we're obviously going to skip over a roll call. So next we'll have officer reports. President Will Harris, you're up first.
All right. Hello, everybody. I hope everyone has had a good 2 weeks since we haven't really got to meet in a while. I wanted to thank you all for joining today, and I wanted to thank Dawson and MJ for the bill that they're putting up. I definitely think that's very much needed right now since we're navigating these different waters, and we haven't really been in a place like this before. I definitely agree that there needs to be additional clauses made to the Constitution. So thank you, Dawson and MJ, for doing that. As far as updates and reports, I don't really have anything else to update you all on. finalizing grading the scholarships, and hopefully we'll have those done soon, and then we'll be able to move forward with the budget and what I've been talking to you all about the past few weeks. I wanted to take this opportunity. I know that a lot of you might have questions about what's going on individually. A lot of you all are in different situations. So I also wanted to take this time to allow you all the opportunity to ask any questions about the university's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, any of the ongoing situations on campus. If any of you all have any questions about that, I have nothing but free time to answer your all's questions. So please, if you all have any questions, feel free to ask now, email me, reach out, whatever it is that you all would like to do. Go ahead, and I'm all ears. So that's all I've got. If any of you all would like to ask questions, feel free to. But if not, you all have a good week.
Also too, just like a fun fact that I didn't realize was like something you could do on Zoom is you can, over here I have like managed participants. So if you guys raise your hand from now on, we can start doing that. I can see it on here. It should be like a button down there, like where you would vote. Let me see if I can find it. But just from now on, when we ask questions, that way it's a little more efficient and I can just start directing and unmuting you. But Will just asking for questions just made me think of that. So sorry to jump over you, Will. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, with that, then we're just going to jump into Executive Vice President Garrett Edmonds.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Had a budget meeting this morning, and we're just going over the preliminary 2021 fiscal year budget. Nothing too extensive yet. We're going to have a follow-up meeting next week. We will be starting to address fees. I'm going to be working with the provost some to be going through those and looking through different types of fees, not the same ones that I believe Aubrey served with on a university committee looking at. But that's pretty much all I got. I want to thank Dawson and MJ for their work on the bill tonight. I think it looks great, and I hope y'all have some good conversation about it and discuss it in further detail. But thank you all.
Okay, Administrative Vice President Keenan McConovich. I don't think that I see him on here, but does anybody have a report for him?
Yeah, so he's updating the budget, and that'll be posted by the end of this week.
Awesome. Okay, and then moving on with that, Chief of Staff Aubrey Kelly.
Yeah, the only thing I really have is about graduation stoles. So if you're a senior, I know a lot of you will probably, like I do, you'll probably still want a stole, even though our commencement has been pushed back into the fall. So I'll be reaching out to seniors this week about if they want a stole, and I'm also going to be discussing kind of with exec about how we're going to go about distributing those, because it's kind of obviously it's difficult right now. And so if anyone also has any suggestions about how we should go about distributing those, that would be good too. And then also, if your friends have served on SGA in the past and they're seniors and they're not still in SGA, please just let them know to reach out to me if they still want an SGA stole, because we still want to honor their service in SGA with a stole. And I'll be trying to reach out to as many as I can as well, but I obviously don't know every single person that has served throughout my time. So yeah, that's all I've got. Have a good week.
Awesome. Director of Public Relations, Ashlyn Evans.
Hey, so I've been working with Bridget Stakelum the past day or so about things that we can do to keep our social medias active in this time. It's all pretty much up in the air. I should have something more solid for you next week. So that being said, if there are members of the PR committee in this group, please respond to the group me. Thank you.
Director of Academic and Student Affairs, Abby Norval.
Hey y'all, so student workers are working on grading scholarships now, but there's still more to be graded. So if anyone wants to help with that, just let me know. Thanks.
Director of Information Technology, Paul Broski.
Hey guys, everything's been updated on the website. I just got all the legislation from this spring from Nathan today. So I'll be getting that up on the archive this week. But that's all I've got. Stay safe.
all I have for mine is I've of course got all that legislation to them. Also too, I just want to highlight when looking at the bill that we have up on the new business, just advice or things to think about. If you're wanting to like change the way that we meet, that is a part of the Constitution, so we're going to have to change it with that bill. So that might be a friendly amendment that you want to add. Ask MJ or Dawson about, or maybe an amendment that you just want to put through if that's something, because I know that that was a concern of some of the senators in our previous meetings. So I just wanted to bring that up so you guys knew that that was an option. And really, I encourage you to not just go ahead and vote like yes on it, or just like go ahead tonight and just shove in unfinished business. I think this bill is really, really great, and it's what's going to help hold us over throughout the summer and make things transition. But also too, like, you guys have to realize everyone has an individual role in SGA, and so everyone's individual role has somehow changed because of this. So if you see something that maybe needs to be addressed, or something that could be a like current issue or an issue in the future, excuse me, be thinking of that. So just encourage, like, as that debate comes, as you review that bill, just to be very wise about it, and you know, don't feel threatened to put in your own idea or things that maybe you need to see on there to help you, you know, transfer your duties throughout this kind of awkward period. Other than that, I messaged the committee chairs today on the group me. Of course, depending on how we vote on this bill, how things change, I'll be giving you guys information needed to kind of prepare to transition your positions into the next year, and kind of wrap up a few of your projects this year. And with that, that's all I have. Secretary of the Senate, Brenna Matthews.
I have no report. Everybody stay safe, continue social distancing, and hopefully we can get back together in the fall.
Amen. So now we're going to jump into committee reports. Academic and Student Affairs, Matthew Johnson.
I don't have a whole lot to say. Just as Abby and Will said, we are grading the scholarships, and if you want to grade scholarships, let Abby or me know. And then also just keep up with your classes. All right, that's all.
Campus improvements, Matt R.
Hi, everybody. I don't have much of a report. Just hope you're all staying healthy and safe and social distancing, and hope you're doing well in your classes. But other than that, that's all I've got.
Okay. Legislative research, Josh Zazak.
Just that, like, as long as we're still in session, you are still allowed to put up legislation and everything, just as like a reminder. So if there's something that's like still really itching on your mind that you want to get up into legislation, just let us know and we can still help you do that, and we can still debate and vote on things as normal. So.
And then diversity and, oh wait, sorry, I jumped over public relations. Bridget Stakelin.
Hi everyone. Sorry about earlier. My cat was like in my room and like chewing on stuff, so I just stopped that. So that was that. So I'm really sorry. But yeah, I have to do. I really wanted to get the resource list. I'm working on a list of resources that we can put out on our website for students. I was trying to have that done by today. I do not have it done. So I'm gonna hope we're aiming for next week. If you would like to help with that, which is basically just like research, compiling a list of resources, you can reach out to me. The more the merrier. Yeah, and then the other thing is Ashlyn and I are gonna be more put out more information probably next week, but we're thinking of getting ways that we can get people engaged in our social media, while also giving people information, really relevant information. So we might, there might be a way for you senators to get involved with that coming up soon, but we're still working on that. And yes, reply to our GroupMe PR committee, and stay safe, wash your hands, social distance.
Awesome. Diversity and inclusion, Simone Whalen. I don't know if I've seen her pop on here yet. Does anybody have a report for Simone? Okay, so moving on with that. we're going to get into sustainability. Jameson Moorhead.
So last week, Tiffany Mitchell, who is an organizer for the Natural Resources Defense Council, she reached out to me concerning their campaign pressuring Aramark to make climate impact reductions in their current, what they do currently. I'm not sure about the full specifics of the campaign, but I planned a meeting with her tomorrow to talk more about that and how SGA can help that campaign. So I will definitely make sure to keep you guys updated on that.
Awesome. And then Saves Cat Howard.
Hey guys, no report.
Awesome. Okay. Then we're getting into special orders. Do we have any university committee reports? Okay. I don't think I see anyone. Speak now. Oh, Bridget, there you go. Sorry. I see your hand
Sorry,
now.
I was trying to like raise my physical hand and press the raise hand button. So
You're all good. I
sorry.
saw it in the corner there.
So you guys have heard me talk about this like a billion times at this point. I am a member of the Student Research Council. The Student Research Conference is now online. It'll be I believe it's the first week of May is when students will be required to submit their presentations online in an online format. So if you know anyone who is going to be presenting, that is what's happening. The other thing is because we've moved the conference to May and it will be online, we are going to be reopening the call for abstracts. So if you have a project now that you can present, either come to me directly and I can send you to like the council. I can direct you to I can direct you to the people, or just the student research. Oh, I forget the name of the website. I think it's just the SRC. I think it's just Student Research Council. But I'll put that somewhere. And so if you weren't able to present before because of a time conflict in March, well, we're now online. So if you can now present, please come tell me, or you know somebody, direct them to me and I can help them. So that's it.
Okay, awesome. Matthew, I see you. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you.
I have a question for Bridget about the SRC. So I know we have to have the abstracts due by that date in May, but when do they have the date for the actual SRC?
As far as I know, the conference is not going to be like a specific day. We haven't like knocked out all of the dates yet.
Mm-hmm.
But in May, it's going to be due, is when your student presentations are due. And then I think it's going to be the following week, the judges are going to actually judge and then put out their scores. And that reminds me of another thing. We are expanding the non-judging category. So if you had a presentation that you want to judge originally, and then you decided that you decided that you don't want a judge anymore because of video quality, a number of reasons, you will be moved to a non-judging category. If you have already submitted your abstract, SRC has your email, and they will be sending out emails updating you whenever we have an update. So if you have applied for the conference, if you're in the conference, I would check your email.
Okay, and then also for Fuse Grant, like recipients that want to receive their stipend, because Gadden has a lot of Fuse Grants, do they just still submit their presentations and that's good?
Yes. So
Okay.
my understanding is that you're still eligible for Fuse if you submit your abstract and you submit your presentation. Derek Strode is the Gatton representative. So if you have any more specific questions, I mean, I'm answering these questions to the best of my ability, but in terms of like Gatton students writ large, if they have, they can either go to me or they can go to Derek Strode, who
Okay,
Dr.
thanks.
Derek. I think he's a doctor, but him.
So does anybody else have any university committee reports? I don't think I see any hands. Okay, so with that, I know Isaac emailed me and told me he isn't here, but just to make sure, does anybody have a judicial council report? And he also too, let me pull up the email. You know, he did email me today regarding the bill that is up to change some of the Constitution. And he just wanted to let everybody know that he doesn't really need to be in the room. There's no constitutional reason why he needs to be in there. And also too, but if you guys have any questions or would like his advice or questioning on it, make sure to reach out to him. Like I said, really take the time to review it and ask him questions, or MJ or me or Dawson if you have any questions. So with that, we'll go into guest and student speakers. And do we have any guest or student speakers? I don't think that we do, but I just want to make sure. Okay. And so with that, we're going to go into unfinished business. We have nothing in there. And then we have the bill 8-20-S in new business.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I raised my hand, but I don't think you saw me.
No, it like literally popped up right as you started
Okay,
speaking. So you're all good. You're all good.
I'd like to make a motion to move bill dash what is S something dash 20 dash 8-20-S to unfinished business.
Yes. Okay. So with that, we're gonna need a second. So if someone wants to just like raise their hand, and I'll just see the blue thing pop up. Oh, there we go. A second. And then it's not going to be debatable because we're just considering something out of order. And we're just going to need a majority for that one. So let me get this poll. Sorry, I'm going to give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to mute myself and get this poll up so we can vote on. Or actually, let's just do this. Let's just do this. Raise your hand if you have opposition to moving that into unfinished business. Okay, David. And then for you guys who don't have a screen, actually just, I'm so sorry.
You muted yourself, Nathan.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna go change the polling settings really quick. Just give me 1 minute so we can vote. I didn't realize some of you guys are just on your phone.
Nathan, how did you say that you raise your hand in the Zoom thing?
Go to click on participants at the bottom of the window.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so hey guys, so what we're gonna do, just because it's gonna take me a while to change these polls and I don't want to waste any guys' time, just go ahead and click the raise your hand button in favor of moving bill 8-20-S into unfinished business. And then I'll see your little blue icon and I can make the judgment from there. And then for those of you who may just be on your phone or don't have that option, I'm going to give it a couple more seconds for voting, and I'm just going to go on the list here, and you're just going to have to do roll call voting.
And the raise your hand does expire after a little bit, so make sure if it turns off, you turn it back on.
Okay, so all on your, well, Bridget's is up. Okay, Ansley, Gordon, do you vote yes or no? Yay or nay, I guess I should say. Okay, we'll
Yay.
consider.
Sorry.
Yay. Okay, awesome. No, you're all good. You're all good. And then Caleb Spain, yay or nay? Okay, I see your hand popped up there. Dawson, I'm assuming yay, but your hand's just not up.
He doesn't get a vote. He's no longer a senator.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm so sorry. That was literally on my. Thank you, Brenna. Emily Thurman. Okay. And then with that, Paul. I guess we'll know you're on your executive mind. Ignore me. I was thinking of committees. Okay. Other than that, I don't see anyone who said nay. If you said nay, please raise your hand. I'm assuming unanimous consent on moving that in. So now that that is unfinished business, we will go into debate. Is there anyone, I guess we'll start off with authorship. If you, MJ, just kind of want to get like a background of where you guys were with that.
Of course I can. Okay, so the whole idea behind putting these emergency clauses in is not to try and make your life harder or to try and make you waste your time with this. I do apologize if that's how it came across. What we've been doing is following the Constitution half the time and not following the Constitution the other half of the time because of physical limitations that we have, which I understand it is no one's fault. What we want to do with these emergency clauses is to make sure that we can still abide by this Constitution while still being restricted in terms of access that we have to campus. So I hope that everyone has had the chance to read it. If you haven't, please do so now. I want to be able to have a facilitated discussion on that today, especially because, you know, time is running out and we need to, if in the event that this passes, we have to put it to a vote by the entire student body, and that does require a top net election, which we hope can be accomplished through working with faculty, which Isaac has pseudo promised that would be possible. Can I allow Dawson to talk? Is he allowed to talk too?
Yeah, Dawson, you're totally fine to go ahead. Just because you're kind of like with this as well.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, just to echo a lot of the things that MJ said, this is just more of a precaution. Obviously, we all know we're in very like uncharted territory right now, and this is going to be something we should probably put in the Constitution just in case a situation like this comes back up again. I know obviously we're all very optimistic that we're going to go back in the fall, but it's also a real possibility that we may not return, like fingers crossed we are, but this is just something we should be prepared for, and hopefully we can use this as we can use this pandemic just kind of as a way to learn our lesson and put emergency clauses like this to prepare.
One of the main reasons that we've done this also is because according to Kentucky revised statute, which is, you know, big boy law, we have to have a student regent at all times. Now, typically that position is fulfilled in the spring 20, or like where it would have been the spring 2020 elections. But since we're not doing those, and since we're not voting on election codes and no one can run a purely social media campaign, we need to have a way to be able to extend our terms beyond one academic year, because otherwise we are actually breaking the law by not allowing a student regent to sit during the summer months. I think Will's term technically expires either June 30th or July 30th. I'm not really sure which. But at that time, right now, the way our Constitution reads, we have absolutely no replacement and no interim student regent. So we would need to extend everyone's terms until we can hold a legitimate election. Let's hope in the fall, I should say. So that's the real point of this emergency clause, and also so that we can still facilitate like our discussions and still pass bills and things like that while we are in this restricted and limited environment, so to speak, that we are in right now. So I think that's all that I have to say. Is Dawson, do you have anything else to add?
Also, just Nathan made a really good point about actual like physical meeting spaces of SGA. That can be a friendly amendment. MJ and I are both completely fine adding something where you don't have to physically meet in the Senate chambers. It can be over a venue like Zoom. So if someone wants to propose that, we're totally cool with it.
Can someone point of information me?
Point of information, Will Harris.
MJ, is there any way, or one of the things that I'd like to see revised on this is changing it to 4 weeks instead of 3 weeks, because IT takes 2 weeks to set up elections, and then elections take 2 weeks for campaigning. That would be the only thing that I would see that would need to be changed to the draft. That way IT is given enough time to set the election up, and the election process is still given the 2 weeks.
Okay, so hold on, let me clarify then this for you too. I have within that special election in which we would appoint an interim student regent, just that would be the only instance that we have the special election. Is that still okay for 2 weeks? 2 weeks before the end of the semester, but you want 4 weeks at the beginning of the semester for the replacement election?
Yeah, I think that would still work because we would still be able to set up the emergency election for the student regent in the spring. But for the fall election, IT, we would have to wait until we get back on campus to set that up. That's the
Okay.
only difference I see there.
Yeah, then I accept that amendment as friendly.
Awesome. Okay, so guys, that's going to change the clause. It says, whereas the rescheduled spring 2020 election must be held instead of 3, it's just now going to state 4.
And then I'm also going to propose a friendly amendment to this. There are some specific semesters that are labeled in here, which I did not put in. I believe that was Isaac that put those in. I would like to take out the fall 2020 and spring 2020, because that would make this emergency clause completely void, because it would only be applying to this specific instance. And if we don't even know if we're returning back in the fall, I know we're optimistic about that, but we don't know that for sure. I don't want to just like do this for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I just took it off there. So now that entire clause just says, whereas the rescheduled election must be held within 4 weeks of the new semester. I would just advising, do we want to clarify kind of what new semester means, just in the sense of like, there is maybe that chance that we will not be back in class in the fall. Like, I mean, I know that's just kind of like a way in the back of the head thought, but just for the sake of like what you were saying, just making it more versatile, like.
Yes, I don't mind at all. I just don't know what the correct verbiage would be there. Like the new academic semester, a new normal academic semester, a new in-person academic semester.
You could say subsequent semester. I don't know. Subsequent.
Are you meaning specifically to where we, like when we are meeting in person again?
Yeah, I mean, unless, well, let's just say new semester, because worst case scenario, let's just say new semester for now, just to sake of like confusion. And I think that helps, honestly, just from a perspective of like, leaves that little bit of ambiguity that it still works, but we can work on it. It was just a kind of a thought I was throwing out there, since we're just kind of debating on that.
There's one other thing that I need to provide clarification on, and that is about the clause where it says Judicial Council shall have discretion over applications and campaigning for the special election. This special election, the only time we're using special in front of election is when we are determining a new student regent. So according to KRS law, it doesn't matter how we get our student regent. As long as we have one, like it doesn't necessarily have to be voted upon by the entire student body. Under normal circumstances, we absolutely would. But in interim student regent, all what I am inferring from that is just while we are not meeting in person. So the rest of this summer term into when we would be able to have those replacement elections, if that makes, just so that is completely clear. Like we can technically do that within the legislative body, just hold a vote to determine our interim student regent. And that is only under the circumstances that our current student regent, which would be Will, could no longer meet the qualifications of his office. For instance, he's graduated and he's no longer a full-time student, but that's not going to happen here because he is not graduating in the spring, and he will be able to extend his term into the fall. Does that clear up anything that people had concerns on for that, so to speak?
You've got 2 questions. You got one from Shelby, and then we'll jump over to Matthew. So first, Shelby, if you just kind of want to go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, this wasn't really a question, and like if it needs to wait, we can, if we have to like vote on this or whatever. But I just wanted to add a friendly amendment that allows us to have like Zoom meetings through Senate, like during a time like this or something like that, just to like make it clear in the Constitution that we can do that, like do this in the event of something like this happening ever again. Like we can have like Zoom meetings as in place of meetings.
Okay. I accept that amendment as friendly. How do you want that to be phrased?
If you could just, Shelby, if you could just say that word for word, I can like type it onto here, and like where at you want it in the bill to, and I'll just start typing it and we'll see. So I'm just gonna put whereas, in the case of university, or do you just, Shelby, do you want to make this specific in the sense that like we only have, like, it's only constitutional to do Zoom meetings if it's in a case like this, like university closure, or are you
Yeah, that's
wanting?
what I was thinking, like only the event like where we needed to in a situation like this. Yeah,
Also,
allow.
in the event that the Senate cannot physically meet in person, it is constitutionally appropriate for Zoom, virtual Zoom meetings. Let me type that really quick.
Do we have to specify Zoom?
Yeah, we could just do a virtual version of meeting. Yeah, that may be a little bit better.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you accept that, Shelby.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna type up something really quick and then I'll like spit it out and you can tell me if it works for you. I don't know if this is like works. So obviously guys, please just join in if you want to change the verbiage of this or whatever. I just put whereas in the event that Senate cannot physically meet in person, virtual meetings may be deemed as an appropriate replacement.
If you could include in there, may not meet in person due to university closure.
Yeah, if you're okay with that, Shelby.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so just for everyone, so we're on the same page, the new clause, I just put it at the very end right before their for statement, and I just put whereas in the event that the Senate cannot meet physically in person due to university closure, virtual meetings may be deemed as an appropriate replacement. And is that exactly what you were going for, Shelby?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, awesome. And do you accept that? I'm assuming you accept that, MJ.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So with that, I know. Okay, I think I see Matt's hand up, but before we jump on Matthew, did you have any more questions?
Oh no, I was gonna suggest the friendly amendment, but so
Okay, awesome. Matt Barr, you can go ahead and ask your question, or do you have a friendly amendment?
Mine is just really in relation to that third whereas clause again. As far as JC goes, it feels like it's just reading over it and looking over it. It seems like it's kind of preemptive, like in the bill itself. Like, would you be okay with maybe moving it below the fifth whereas clause? It feels like it's out of order, you know?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's not in the order that I sent it to Isaac. I'm not entirely sure how it ended up there, but I know exactly what you mean, and I forgot to let Nathan know. But yeah, that I have no problem with that.
Perfect.
If I can clarify, I was just sent, like, Isaac had sent me an email of kind of the rough draft of every clause, but it was not in a bill format whatsoever. So for the sake of just trying to like get it onto this agenda, because I know that we didn't have anything on there, I literally just copied and pasted it into the bill format and kept it in, like, I may have been changed in order of that. So that may be why we have the confusion with that. So please, guys, like Matt said, like, you know, calling out where it doesn't go in order. And even Josh too, I'm about to call you, I'm sure you have something too to say. Just call that out because, you know, and friendly amending this, let's also make sure that it is in the correct bill format. But Josh, do you have a friendly amendment? Well, I guess Matt, we need to figure out. Are you fine with moving that down to the fifth clause, Mary?
Yeah.
Jane. I looked at your name.
That's fine.
Jay.
Fine.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I
Okay,
just
so
think
now
it seems more fitting underneath like the fifth whereas clause.
no, yeah,
Yeah,
I totally agree.
that's where I
just,
originally had it. Not a big deal.
yeah, so it is now in the fifth clause, and it is after the whereas statement that ends fall 2020 semester. Well, we got rid of that.
Hey, Nathan, is there any way that you could share your screen so that everyone's looking at the same
Yeah,
thing?
I didn't even think of that. That's a great idea. Thank you. Okay, can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, so right here is where I was talking.
Okay, and so we need to take out the beginning of the fall 2020 semester
Yes.
too. We need to modify that.
To the next election cycle. Perfect. And then I need to change add that title in there. So anything else that, let me get back on here so I can see if anybody has their hands up. Okay, so Josh, you had your hand, so now that we've done that, if you just want to go ahead and, do you have a friendly amendment or a question you'd like to ask?
I just have a question. So
Yeah.
amendments need to be voted on by the student body, and usually we do that during elections. But this
Mhm.
obviously needs to happen before the next election. So like, what's our plan for implementing that or getting it out to the student body? Or are we allowed to just like put up an amendment to the student body?
Yeah, so that's the discussion that I had with Isaac. And because we noticed that the faculty senate was still able to hold these top net elections, so we didn't understand why we weren't able to. Because initially what we were talking about was, why don't we just go ahead and do the constitutional full sweep? And we won't be doing that because it won't be fair in terms of like our outreach, because people are less engaged in campus activities, obviously right now. We believe that we should still be able to put this onto a top net election and have the entire student body vote on it.
Okay, so Isaac can just like put up, like, it doesn't have to be during a whole election. We can just like do it.
That's
No,
what he
this-
led me to believe. That's correct.
Okay.
No person is going to be on this ballot. It's just
Right.
going to be amendments.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Cool.
Okay.
Is that okay?
awesome.
Do you think that that is okay?
Yeah, I was just making sure we're allowed to, because that seems necessary in this case.
Okay. Is that all, Josh? Just make sure. Yeah. Okay. And then Jesse, I think you're the only one with their hand left, right? Yeah. So the floor is yours.
So I just wanted to ask if like you guys, MJ and Dawson, thought that maybe it would be more appropriate to take specific mention of COVID-19 out of the therefore clause, just in the interest of making it more generally applicable to any sort of future crises that we might face ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't add that, so.
Okay.
Sorry. No, I think we had, our schedules got really tight. Like Dawson and I sent this draft last Monday, and we understand everyone's got a lot of stuff going on, so I don't mean to lay blame on anything or on any one thing. But we sent this draft off to Isaac. Isaac did not send a draft back to us. He sent it on to Nathan instead, which is fine, but that just meant that we didn't see it until it was up on the agenda, and now he's not here. So I apologize. I can't explain to you for any rhyme or reason why he did that, because he has not informed us.
Okay, so just checking a look. Are you guys okay with what I've shared on the screen here? Just like read through it. Any other friendly amendments before we go into kind of like debate and voting?
Okay, we took out the. Can we move the judicial council line? Sorry, did we?
We did move it, did we?
And I think it's still third.
Oh,
applications.
No, yeah. Okay, then. Sorry, I thought I had moved it before I shared my screen.
No, you're totally fine. Brave
Yes. Okay, so let's just, I'm going to read through this really quick, and you guys too, just make sure that we have everyone's amendments and that it is in shape really quick. We changed it to 4 weeks. We moved judicial council line to the 4th as a 5th clause, right? 4, yeah.
Sorry, no, it needs to go one more.
Okay, that's what I was about to say. Okay, there we go. Matthew, I saw that you just raised your hand. Do you just want to go ahead and?
I just had a quick question. So is the reason why, so I know we can do the top net election to vote on this, but is the reason why we can't do the top net election to vote on like other positions because they can't campaign? Like I feel like I missed like something.
Yeah.
If from because we
I
can't
guess it
hold
Will,
it.
do you want to?
Sorry.
I was just gonna say point of information for Will because I think that's just kind of more of like a university thing, but I'm not for sure on that as well.
Yeah,
So I
so
don't-
I've talked to President Caboni, Dr. Lynn Holland, who's the Dean of Students, Randall and Charlie Pride about that. And the big thing is when you hold an online election and you aren't engaging with students, number one, we're not fulfilling our role as a student government association to engage the student body. And number two, at that point, an online election is more or less just a popularity contest, which is not what we want to do. You know, you have no face-to-face interaction. You have no increased advantage to really campaign at all. You could just put a post on your Instagram and whoever has the most followers that go to WKU and vote win at that point. So that's the exact situation that we're trying to avoid by postponing the election, is to create a even field for everyone to run.
Okay, that makes sense. I was just wondering if it was that or like a constitutional reason, but thank you.
Okay, so I don't think I see anybody's raised hands. Does anybody want to have any debate or things they would like to share? I think we're out of questions and kind of, okay, Bridget, yeah, floor is yours.
All right. Yeah, I think this is really necessary. I know I personally have felt kind of weird because I'm like, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know. So yeah, I think that this is really necessary. I think that we need to have something formal when people say like, what are the SGA procedures? Are we having elections? How is SGA conducting themselves right now? I think we need to have a formal thing that we can point to and be like, this is how we're gonna, this is how we're conducting ourselves right now. Also, from what epidemiologists say, after this initial wave passes, there are going to be flare-ups in different places in the country. We don't know where those are, but there will be flare-ups after this initial crisis is over. And so while we may have in-person class in the fall, we may not have in-person class in the fall for the whole semester. And it's very day by day. So I think this is very good, and it gives us a solid plan going forward. And it's vague enough that if this were to happen in the future, and something were to happen in the fall, or maybe even next spring, we have a plan. We have a template that we can use, and that future SGAs can use.
Awesome. Jesse, I saw that you had your hand up. If you want to go ahead.
I just wanted to remind you, Nathan, to put the new title on the bill as well.
Yeah, it was on my email is where I have it copied. I was just gonna copy and paste it, but we're sharing my screen. I just didn't want to like click off and mess it up. But yeah, okay. I've added on there. And then Matt.
This is a question that I honestly didn't even come to me until right now, but just looking over it, what about members of the executive cabinet that aren't able to continue their positions? Like Keenan is graduating, Aubrey is graduating. Are those duties, I'm just thinking, should we put something in there that, their duties will be, delegated to other executive member staffs, or just didn't know what your all's thoughts were on that, as far as just making sure that the office is running smoothly still,
Yeah, so there are parts of the Constitution right now that discuss if there is no longer someone on the executive cabinet and they can just continue on with that. and we can just continue on like that appointment process. If they do want to appoint someone, they can do it, but also there will be an expedited election, so it may not necessarily be a large problem, but there's still a way for them to do it if the executive cabinet would like to.
Okay. All right, that's all I've got.
Okay, does anybody else have any debate or questions they'd like to add? Okay, David, I see you right there raising your hand.
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea to pass this just to have just like as Bridget said, to have some kind of, contingency plan, or a framework of one at least in place, should, heaven forbid, some future SGA have to deal with something similar to this. I'm actually kind of surprised that, such contingency plans weren't already written into the Constitution as it is.
Okay, good. Do we have any other debates that guys would like to mention or questions? I don't think I see any hands or stuff up, so I'm just gonna assume. Cool. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and vote on this. We're just gonna vote the same way that we voted to move it in. Just raise your hand, and if you're in favor, and then I'll go through who doesn't raise their hands, and we'll clarify who's not in favor and who's abstaining from voting. Okay, Ansley Gordon, yay or nay?
Yes.
Garrett, yay or nay? Where's he at?
This Garrett Baum?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, I
Abstain.
couldn't find you, so okay. Okay, I'm just making sure. Cody O'Kurt, yay or nay? Or abstain? Just gonna assume no voting on that one. And then Trip, are you there? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Awesome. Okay. Unanimous consent, but one abstention. Bill 8-20-S does pass. So like, just for your guys' reference in your head, just kind of look to the first clause there. So now I believe, MJ, please step in if I'm wrong. It was going to go to judicial. They have to vote on it as well, exec, and then if it passes through those is when we will start to see it on TopNet. So for you guys, obviously we'll be updating you about that in the Senate, but be prepared. You guys will definitely be the ones promoting students voting on that and spreading that news around. So just be thinking of that in the back of your mind. But MJ, do you have anything else you want to say moving forward?
Just thank you. And I did have, I guess, point of information to Will about a possible ad hoc committee on like the whole Constitution review. If that rings a bell to you, is that still happening or no?
I think I'm still, that was brought up earlier in the semester, and at that point we were still all together. I think that I could definitely move forward with that. The way I'd want to move forward with that is 3 members from exec, 3 members from legislative, and 3 members from JC to serve on that ad hoc committee. So I would just want the list of names from Nathan and Isaac for those individuals. That way it's a balanced ad hoc committee and we're getting input from everyone. Obviously, no matter what on the ad hoc committee, any changes that are made would be voted on by the Senate. So if those numbers, obviously the numbers are even from each branch, but you all still have control over voting on that. And then it would go to exec to vote on to approve, and then it would go to a student body vote for approval of that as well. But if Nathan and Isaac are still down to do that, I'm down to do that as long as we get the people.
Yeah, so we had met Garrett and Isaac and I had met once before this kind of all happened, and that was to kind of get our stuff together to start finding our people. So it just kind of like, the meeting was literally right before spring break, and Garrett can jump into, and then it was just like, we did all this. So I think we're just kind of, this is the biggest hurdle, getting this organized. And then I think definitely use the downtime in summer, especially with such a small group of people. We can maybe try to get that voted and do the procedures as Will was saying before. So of course, if you guys are interested, like reach out to me, and I'm sure me, Isaac, and Garrett will be talking here soon about getting that stuff going.
Yeah, we did meet. Just this whole pandemic has sort of put a damper on things, and we've held off on doing anything else. But the way it was designed was we were just going to start going through, the whole Constitution and reading over things and making sure that everything was clear. Had a defined meeting, and let Isaac and his members from JC shed their input on certain things. We really don't think it's going to be that rigorous of a process. I mean, we think the Constitution is fairly clear in a lot of areas, but we want to make sure that we're all on the same page with everything and how it reads. But yes, we will look to start setting something up on Zoom with that, but we want it to be something where it's not super time consuming on everyone, but we can go through it and make sure that we are following the Constitution and everything is up to date. So
awesome. So well, with that then, does anybody have any announcements they'd like to make? You just kind of speak now, forever hold your peace.
This is one thing that I've noticed when I'm in like broader group chats, like the honors college group chat or whatever. Students have a lot of questions, and they still have a lot of questions. So if you are ever, this is just like a general reminder that if you're ever in a situation where you can provide students some answers or reach out to students and work with student groups to take that opportunity. Not that I don't think that you all already would or are, but just a reminder, something to think about.
Awesome.
Yeah, going off what Bridget said, I just want to remind everyone that we're still the Student Government Association of Western Kentucky University, and we represent all students on this campus. And right now, the most difficult thing that any student organization is facing, and we're facing especially, is outreach and talking to students. We have 35 people in this Zoom meeting right now, and we're representing over 18,000 students. So as you have downtime this week, reach out to your fellow peers, your fellow friends, and ask questions that they have. We still need legislation going through this body. We still need each of you to take an active approach and an active role, because all of you all were elected to serve the student body. And I ask that you all please continue to do that as we're going through this pandemic and everyone's worlds have been changed and flipped upside down. We still need to make that active approach and impacting students' lives.
Any other announcements?
Just a quick question, Nathan.
There you are.
How do you want us to express our interest in being part of that committee for the constitutional review?
I was just actually about to make that in a final answer. I was like thinking about that. Wait on that, because I've got to talk with Garrett. Like I said, we've really got to regroup before I find that, but I'll probably just send out an email, and I'll just put my phone number, or you guys can just email me and just reach out with interest. And then once I've compiled group of people, I figured, especially with the Senate, since we're going from so many people, we could just do a quick vote one day over Zoom of all the people. Just kind of, I'll nominate 2 people and we can vote from there. So, okay. But that specifics, like I said, is just kind of like tail end of like my week agenda. So when I get to that, hopefully we can have something by next meeting, talking about that committee going forward and how to join it if you're interested.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other announcements?
I have a question. Do we have any
what's up?
data on which communications from the university just garner the most interaction? Because it seems like that would probably be a good way to spread word about things like the election for the constitutional amendment, for example.
I can't give a specific answer on that, but I'm sure that if you want to hook up with like Ashlyn Evans, just like shoot her a text message. she can probably start to connect you on kind of what our goal is with PR focusing, and can connect you probably to those university platforms. Answer your question a little bit better than I could. Or if you want to join in Ashland right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would say just like shoot me an email, or like I can give you my phone number or something, and like we can get together and we'll talk about it. So, because like I don't really know anything off the top of my head right now. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that, I don't think that we have any other announcements, but I just want to make sure. And then with that, I'll just assume there's unanimous consent for adjournment, unless somebody would like to say otherwise. And with that, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Peace, y'all.